Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm That Gamer Guy, and welcome to Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Oh my goodness, where do I even begin with this game? So I kind of just figured that I wanted to put together a little, like, kind of review video, I guess, about the whole game, kind of highlighting what I enjoy and don't enjoy about it. The game is great. Like 100%. You can see the quality. It's there. It feels great. It looks great. There's attention to detail and everything, and I just love it. I applaud Infinity Ward for putting so much effort into this after Infinite Warfare. Because this game, Modern Warfare, is super good at a quality level. There's just a few like design things for the multiplayer specifically that kind of make it unfun, and then a bunch of other things that I kind of wanted to talk about in terms of the game as a whole. Because I've gotten kind of into this habit of just like wanting to either write or speak to myself about things that I'm passionate about, just like getting thoughts out onto paper or somewhere. I don't know. I'm weird like that. But you know, I kind of figured, like, since I love Call of Duty and you know, I posted a decent bit on the channel in the past, why not just actually make it into a video? And I don't know. If you guys do follow me on Twitter, you know like exactly how I feel about the game, probably in great detail, because I have been tweeting a lot more since this game came out. And it's mostly like me complaining or expressing my love for the game. Very love-hate relationship with it. And I don't think I'm the only one. But, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and like start talking, see what I can get my point across. And I don't have anything written down. I'm just going to be kind of blabbing from the mouth. And I feel like it's a bit more honest that way, instead of like planning everything out, because it shows like just what I truly feel about this game, instead of like trying to manipulate a speech of some sort or whatever. But you know, we're just gonna get straight into it. I guess one more thing that I should mention before I kind of get into the whole thing is where the uploads have been. Just real quick, I'm not gonna take too long on it, but my life has just been in shambles. I've been super busy, and whenever I can play, I'm usually only playing Modern Warfare, and maybe like only up for an hour at a time or so. And even on the weekends, I am kind of like taken up by a whole bunch of different things. So I have a window to be able to make this video right now even. So I have been saving clips, but nothing like a crazy video of any sorts. And I guess it's just enough for me to make like a thoughts video. I don't know if I'll be able to keep on making videos themselves. Maybe stream whenever I can, but that's where I am right now. So first and foremost, again, like I mentioned before, the quality of the game is fantastic. The best looking and best feeling Call of Duty to date. And for anyone that doesn't even play the game, you could probably see it very easily. I can tell you right now, it feels fantastic. There's so many great things about how the game feels that it's kind of impossible to put into words. For myself anyway. I can't figure out words to describe it. It just feels clean, solid, like, I don't know, it's just insane. And it all works together really well to just kind of make the game feel even better as a whole for what you're doing whenever you're doing it. Perfect example, whenever you're playing the campaign for this game, highly recommend it, by the way, if you have not played it and you have the game. You know, there's so many situations where you're just so immersed, you kind of forget that you're playing a game for a second. It's just insane, and for those of you who have played the campaign, you'll know what I'm talking about. But missions like Clean House, and even the final mission, I'm not going to spoil anything if you haven't played it, but the Clean House and the final mission, they are just so perfect. Like, those are my favorite missions in the campaign. And the ending as well, like the CGI cutscenes, not in-game cutscenes, but the CGI cutscenes, oh my god, they look fantastic. It's literally insane how well this game looks. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. There's not really much else I can say about the quality of the game itself. Yeah, there's just no words. Glancing back over to the campaign for a second, as a rebooted campaign, it played really well. I really enjoyed it. I loved every single moment of it. Okay, maybe not every single moment. There were a couple of instances in the campaign where I was like, why the hell am I doing this? Like, it just tedious work, not so much that like there were any plot holes that I could see or anything, but it was just tedious. Like there's a mechanic on one of the missions where you have to lead someone around a building, and you know, you're character takes control of the cameras and then you just point where they need to go, whatever. That's just annoying, and obviously they have to avoid enemies, and you know, you're just leaving it up to the AI of that person that you're guiding to hopefully take the right route and not not walk in front of the guy with the gun. But I don't know, just some like minor gripes like that. I don't know, but the campaign itself was really cool. You start off doing this kind of like recon mission to figure out what's going on with the Russians and like some gas that they have shipping around, and the entire campaign kind of picks up from there. It's really, really cool, and you know, it's not a secret that Price is in the campaign. He's been advertised with it, but Captain Price, apologies because I don't know the guy who plays him or who voices him, but everything about the guy like kind of screams old Captain Price to me. Like, I was just kind of geeking out whenever Captain Price first appeared and whenever he was doing like something badass or whatever. Super cool guy. And again, not gonna try and spoil for anybody who hasn't played it yet, but other characters that do reappear were placed in there like so well. Like, it was just insane. The campaign is really, really good, really well done, and again, I highly recommend it for those of you who have the game but have not played it. Please at least give it a shot. It's extremely short as well. I think only like 5 to 6 hours if you can get through it fairly quickly. The next thing that I want to talk about real quick is Spec Ops. I'm going to leave the multiplayer for last because that's the thing that I have the most to talk about. But Spec Ops. Ooh. So, my biggest thing with Spec Ops, because I've only played each of the 4 missions once, my biggest complaint is that they are way too difficult when you play with randos. They are way too difficult if you're playing with random people online. Because, as many of you know, it's kind of impossible to tell how good a random player is until they start performing either bad or good. So, you know, we're sitting here doing these missions, they're going down, and yeah, we pick them up, but then they go down again, and you know, they get to double-digit downs by the time we all die. We don't finish. God, nobody finishes the Spec Ops unless you try super hard. But double-digit downs, it's insane. I don't get it. The Spec Ops is just extremely difficult for the stuff that you have to do. The first mission starts off fairly easily. You know, you guys go down a building and you have to find, I think, whatever, commanders, get like chips off of them to find the location of like another HVT, high value target. So you do that. You're going through these multiple different buildings, just kind of killing them, taking their stuff, decrypting whatever, and then it's like, hey, you need to go back to the stadium to decrypt freaking like EMP servers or whatever. I don't freaking remember. I played it like when the game first came out. And you gotta destroy 5 of them, and you know, the first time that I'm playing it, I'm thinking like, okay, this should be pretty simple. The first part wasn't that bad. Literally, as soon as you start going for those servers, they start throwing endless amounts of people at you. They do not miss their shots. I swear they're playing on something harder than Veteran. It's disgusting. And then you clear the first one, right? You destroy the first one. The first one's like not that difficult. But as soon as you get to the second and third one, they start throwing juggernauts at you. And then by the time you get to the fourth one, they start bringing in APCs and tanks with even more juggernauts and miniguns. Oh my God, is that not fun? That is crazy fun, right? No, it's just tedious and difficult. It literally does not make any sense to me, like, why they had to make it so difficult. And I don't have like that many friends that are on or even have Modern Warfare that want to bother with Spec Ops, so it's like I'm basically stuck with randoms, and you know, it's just extremely difficult. And that's kind of why I haven't bothered to go back and play it, other than the 1 times that I've played each mission. I haven't gotten like past the first checkpoint on any of them. I'm assuming that like you get to the first checkpoint after you do those servers on the first mission or whatever, because I have died before and it kicks you straight back to the beginning. So I'm sitting there like, cool, guess I'm just gonna never play this again. And you know, that kind of is sad, because you know, Infinity Ward obviously put a lot of work into Spec Ops as far as like the story, continuing it, making the missions have extremely big maps, for lack of a better word. They have the work there. The point is that it's so difficult that casual players for Spec Ops like myself, I'll play Spec Ops casually from previous Modern Warfare games. We're not gonna want to come back. It's just like, what? I don't know, man. But kind of besides that whole thing, I personally haven't experienced any of the major bugs that people have been saying they have been experiencing. Like, I know that a big thing is that people haven't been able to use their munitions whenever they spawn back in. So like the ammo crates, the grenade crates, the armor crates, they can't use those. Streaks, I know, haven't been able to be used as well because they're in that kind of same like just call-in system. Weapon consistency between dying and respawning has also been bad. I know that roles have also been kind of being changed every single time you respawn. The entire mode has just been buggy from what I've been hearing. And again, I haven't really experienced any of like the major bugs or whatever, but you know, I feel like if Infinity Ward can just tone down the difficulty a little bit, or hell, let us even choose a good difficulty, I feel like that would make it a lot better. And have the difficulty like change the spawn rates of the enemies as well, and the spawn logic, because you know, you get through presumably not even half the mission and they're already throwing tanks and juggernauts at you. Multiple tanks and juggernauts at you at one time, might I add. And it's insane. Like, and the juggernauts wouldn't be that much of an issue if, you know, they didn't have so much health. I think that's kind of like the main problem with them, not the fact that there's so many, but the fact that they take so many bullets. I had one instance on my first playthrough, getting through like the 3rd or 4th EMP server or whatever that you have to destroy, where I picked up an enemy's PKM, full 100 round clip, and you know, a juggernaut in front of me was spraying the minigun at my teammates behind cover, so I just mounted the PKM, and you know, when you mount, you have no recoil essentially, so I mounted and I'm spraying at his head, the juggernaut's head, spraying all 100 rounds. I'm getting the headshot hit marker because the headshot hit markers look different. I'm seeing all the headshot hit markers. I bleed the PKM dry of that magazine, and he's still alive. 100 rounds of PKM ammunition from fairly close range, because like, it's just impossible. And the dude did not die. It's just insane. And kind of like I said before, I don't think it's the fact that the amount of juggernauts is what makes it difficult. It's the fact that they don't die, and the fact that you die so quick. Like, I swear, it, like, obviously I'm pretty sure the players like maybe have 150 health, 200 health or something. But with how fast their miniguns shoot, and how you can literally get sniped in the head by an assault rifle from a random person across the freaking grass, is just insane. So you lose a good amount of your health in like 3 or 4 shots. It's retarded. It's retarded. So obviously, since I finished the campaign, and I'm not really going to bother with Spec Ops anymore at this point until hopefully the difficulty gets addressed at some point. I know after this recent patch that they addressed the bugs, majority of the bugs at least, but the difficulty is the biggest thing for me. Aside from all of that, I've been playing the multiplayer the most, honestly. Even though like before this latest patch it was abysmal, it was not fun to play at all. And again, if you guys follow me on Twitter, you would know like how much I absolutely hated the maps specifically, and how the game as a whole kind of like encouraged camping. And I'm not the only one to think that at all, I don't think. Actually, no, not that I don't think. I know I'm not the only one who thinks like that, because everybody who loves the aggressive playstyle has been super upset with how this game encourages campers. It's just insane. The biggest thing is the 725 being so versatile, and the claymores just being annoying for the most part. And the fact that, you know, you can use the restock perk so that campers can keep on getting claymore after claymore. They don't have to die to get more. It's retarded. I don't understand why. I don't understand why like Infinity Ward kind of designed the different perk interactions and equipment interactions to essentially just give campers a a way to play the game and be annoying for the actual skilled players. And you know, I'm pretty sure the clip has kind of gotten around at some point, but I think Infinity Ward was doing an interview. I don't remember with who, but they were doing an interview, and so the dude was asking like about the state of the game, how they're planning to like bring in new players, whatever. And then, you know, obviously they explained that, you know, the time to kill is faster. You know, the maps are a lot more porous, as they said. So there's a lot more different spaces to hide, maneuver, and whatever. Like, the maps can be kind of cluttered, so they're not very structured, in a sense. And then the reporter comes back and asks, is this going to come at the expense of the hardcore players, in a sense? And hardcore being the people who, you know, Rush have been playing the series for a while, and, you know, play the way that most people would assume you would play Call of Duty, like an arcade shooter, play aggressive, just go for kills, go for feeds. And they essentially said, like, they didn't blatantly say it, but they essentially did kind of say that yes, it was going to come at the expense of the hardcore fans having fun, which it has. It's not a secret, it has. The 725 was just extremely versatile, and it still is kind of extremely versatile even after this latest nerf, because all they really did is decrease its damage and range as a whole. So decreased its damage range and the maximum range it can reach out to as a whole. But even then, if you get lucky with the pellet spread, you can still hit someone from pretty far away. So there's that. And then, you know, the whole Claymore with restock thing, that was a bit of a problem. The Claymores themselves did get a nerf, and I've only been playing Shoot House, the new map, so I haven't really seen many Claymores at all. So I don't know, like, how annoying they are still. While Shoot House is in the game, that's all I'm going to be playing. I'm going to refuse to play any other map, because of that reason being that they're all just, like, so cluttered and so many places to hide, like I've said before. It's insane, like, how camper friendly this game is. And yeah, we all say camper as kind of like a universal term for anyone who just sits somewhere and refuses to play aggressively, where in reality that definition has been, like, kind of distorted. Camper is someone who literally does not move from the room that they start the match in. And even if they get killed, they'll go right back there. And if their spawn split, they'll just go to, like, the exact mirrored part on the opposite side of the map that does the same thing, essentially. So it's just really strange. I don't get how people play like that. I don't get how people have fun like that. I think that's my biggest thing with it, is that, like, it's not fun at all. And I don't know how they're having fun. You know, I would think that just sitting in a corner and staring at a door, waiting for someone to come find you, is extremely boring. It's a waste of your life, in a sense. Like, yeah, you know, people who hate video games, like, video games are a waste of your life, whatever. But no, talking about just gamers and the community in general, it is a waste of your life to sit there and wait for someone to come to you, in Call of Duty specifically, because the whole thing with COD, in my mind, is you go out and get your kills. You go out and play the objective. You go fight. I've gotten to that point where I don't care about my stats. I care about winning and having fun, which I was a sweat for a while. I was like, I need to have the highest KD, highest SPM that I can possibly gain while trying to win. And, you know, sometimes I would kind of throw my wins out the window to try and keep a streak going or whatever. And that was back when I wasn't even, like, still good at the game. Black Ops 3, whatever. But, you know, now I've gotten to the point where I just want to have fun, man. Like, that's why you guys have been seeing in the gameplay me using the Model 680 as a shotgun, because I love pump shotguns. As annoying as they are, the 725 is more annoying just because of how far you can get killed with it. But the Model 680, like, I remember running around in Black Ops 2 with the Remington, and I was having just so much fun because of how good it was. And, you know, the Model 680 in this game kind of gives me that same feeling. I love rushing around with it and getting kills with it. And, you know, it has its moments. It has its moments. But my biggest problem with it is that its one-shot kill range, or one-shot kills in general are just super inconsistent with it. Extremely inconsistent. I don't know if you all have, like, seen it multiple times in the gameplay already, but there are points where I shoot at someone fairly close to me, and I get a hit marker, And then there are times where I aim at someone pretty far away to the point where I don't think I'll get the kill, but I end up killing them anyway. It's just super inconsistent, and I don't understand it. I know why it is. I'm pretty sure I know why anyway. That Infinity Ward probably went back to the old pellet damage system, where each pellet does like a set amount of damage. Like, I don't know, let's just say 16, 20 damage maybe. Like, I don't know. Each pellet does a certain amount of damage, probably between 10 and 20. So if you land like all 8 pellets on target, you should get the kill. That's what should happen. But recently, like I think in the past 3 years, what the COD developers have been doing is the shotguns are coded where if you hit 1 pellet, it'll deal like 94 damage. 1 pellet. And every pellet that you land on top of that is going to add 1 damage, 2 damage on top of the amount that you pull. I don't know. It varies gun to gun. It varies in developer to developer what they want to do with the shotguns. But that's kind of like the basic structure of how they were made. And the point was to make shotguns more consistent, so that you know, you wouldn't get as many hit markers point blank, because that was the biggest issue with shotguns before that in this system, where you know, you hit someone point blank and you don't get the kill, but you can still snipe someone from fairly far away if you get lucky with your pellet spread being super condensed and being on target. It's really strange. I don't know. It's just really strange. So there's a bunch of different like kind of things going on with this game. And I'm pretty sure, like, to me, the maps were the biggest issue, along with the 725 to a certain extent, because it was just so versatile with its range, and it still is pretty nutty. But the maps, for me, are the biggest problem, because, like I said before, there's so many places to hide, there's so many dark corners and different crevices that people can camp in, and it literally just draws those types of people in. It's insane. Like, even after the game's been out for this long, even though it hasn't been out for so long, the way that people play has changed a lot, but the campers themselves haven't. Like, I'm still finding different corners that people try to camp in, and it's insane. Like, you know, you have the stereotypical spots, like head glitching, overlooking a flag, or, you know, posted up on a barrel that's looking at a doorway. You know, there's all the crazy spots, but then there's like these random corners that people manage to sit in, and there's instances where I still see them sitting there after a long while. It's nuts. It's nuts. But you know, I feel like weapon balancing is, I guess, kind of the issue. Like, maybe not really. Because the M4 was kind of toned down a bit, and honestly, in the Shoot House 24/7 playlist, I haven't been seeing the M4. I'm actually seeing a lot more variety of different guns in Shoot House, so there's that, which is fantastic to see. Honestly, no M4s and 725s don't really dominate the kill feed, and you know, I'm for the most part, I am the only person using a shotgun in these lobbies, unless people get butthurt and then they pull out their 725. Because that has happened a couple times. People get butthurt and then they start pulling out their 725s to try and use a shotgun back, because they're like, oh, okay, you're using a shotgun. But yeah, but the model isn't as good as a 725, though. It's not as consistent. My thing with it is that the hipfire spread isn't as tight as a 725. I think even after the 725's nerf, its hipfire spread is still better than the model, which is strange. Like, the model is supposed to be like kind of like the all-around one. Which I guess fine, it is in that spot right now, but my thing is that it needs to become more consistent with its one-shot kills. So that's kind of the biggest thing for me. And obviously all the rest of the guns do have a place in the game. The SMGs all got buffed, which is fantastic to see, so it's not AR domination anymore. So there is a fair mix between assault rifles and SMGs now. And again, like I said, the shotguns, you know, I'm usually the only shotgunner in the lobby, and if there's any other ones, it's a 725. Don't really see that much of the R90 or the Origin, thank God, because those are kind of obnoxious with how fast they shoot. And, you know, obviously the snipers, specifically on Shoot House, I don't think have a place just because they fire way too slow. I mess around in custom games, like finding different attachment combinations that would work best for me, and kind of testing out weapons specifically. and I messed around with a bot match with the AX50 as fast as I could make it, as far as aim down sight goes. And it's impossible to keep getting kills just because the bolt is just way too slow. I will say that the Mark II carbine is a great alternative for like quick scopers in a sense, because it fires so fast, and if you can stick through and get the maximum extended barrel possible for the Mark II carbine, it's gonna become, or it should be, the best quick scoping rifle in this game. Like my thing with it is get the mini reflex. I think it's either the 5 or the tac laser, the 5 milliwatt or the tac laser, one of those two. That helps with, I think, aim down sight time. Get that super long barrel, the 24-inch barrel, and then just mess around with some of the other attachments. And it's pretty consistent if you can land like upper chest or chest shots, which I think I can do fairly well, kinda. And it's super quick. You can keep on getting shots off. It's really insane. And you know, I haven't used the Mark II in public match all that much, just because the base one is a hit marker machine. And I think I actually do have a clip of me hitting like a quad feed for my first time using it. I don't know if I'll put that up right here, if I can, but oh my god! Holy crap! No! That would have been my quad headshot feed with this thing! First time using it, first game using it. Oh my god. So yeah, that was the thing. I was really enjoying using it that game, but that clip was the best thing that happened to me with it. And I was lucky that I was aiming for the head and actually hit those shots, because you know, like I said, it is a hit marker machine if you hit like lower body. But you know, it's a good weapon overall, and I think especially for shoot house it would be really like dominant if you managed to get it leveled up that far. So yeah, and speaking of which, like, I guess kind of going back to the whole map thing, the maps in this game, like, they look beautiful, they just don't play well, I don't think, for like the type of Call of Duty gameplay that a lot of us would think that the game would have. Shoot house is really the only one, and yeah, people have complained all the time about how like 3-lane maps are getting boring because they're all the same thing and whatever, but I think it just shows, like, even though the maps themselves are boring and people say they don't have character to them, they work. They really work. They work because it gives structure, it gives flow, and I personally enjoy the maps having structure and form, rather than just kind of like the cluttered mess that the rest of the maps are in this game. Ramazan is kind of an okay one. It's like on and off, but again, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know that I've said multiple times before that Hackney Yard and Gunrunner, I think, are the best base maps in the game. Like, there's just a whole bunch of different things that are kind of like on and off about the game. I'm loving it a lot more now that this recent patch came out. The 725 got its nerf, the M4 got its nerf. I still think that they are still viable weapons, which, you know, it's cool that they're not like useless now. At least they're like a little bit more balanced. I guess if people can find ways to like keep on cheesing with them, maybe we can bring those up a little bit more. I'm not sure if the 725 range would need to get toned down anymore, because it is a double barrel, and you know, using both shells to kill would probably be a little bit much, because then it'd become impossible to even hit a quad feed with the thing. COD World War II, I remember like the sawed-off was in that position where you needed both shells to kill. And the reload was also long as well, so you couldn't get quad feeds with that thing super easily. So it's just a bunch of different things. I still love the game. It is fantastic. It has that Call of Duty like pull that fans of the series love, where like after the first couple of days, I was sitting here like, yeah, I hate this game. I don't like it. People play it way too passively. It's annoying. It's boring. And yet the next morning, I turned it back on because I wanted to play. Like, it just has that thing where you hate it so much, hate the players that are playing, but the game itself is so good that you want to come back and keep playing it. It's just really strange. And, you know, I don't remember the last time that I kind of felt like that with a Call of Duty. Black Ops 3, although I played it a lot, didn't really have that. But, you know, and I wouldn't necessarily consider Black Ops 2 being a valid entry for me, because that was literally my first Call of Duty where I started playing the multiplayer, and I was ass. Like, I seriously think, I don't remember the last time I looked, but I'm pretty sure I had like either a 0.3 or 0.4 KD on the multiplayer. It was my first time, so, you know, I think it's understandable that I was so bad. And that brings up another thing. Oh my god, I'm gonna go off on another goddamn tangent again. It's like I'm so bad with this. But I'm gonna go off on another goddamn tangent again. We have, like, said that we don't really like the fact that this game is catering to the lesser skilled players with the shotgun that, you know, can still kind of snipe a little bit. You know, all the buildings on these maps like being kind of dark and hard to see into if you're standing on the outside. All of them having like one way in, two ways in that people can cover with claymores. You know, it's so camper friendly, like passive player friendly, to the point where aggressive players are getting punished for it. And we have said that, like, you know, when us now hardcore players were also bad at the game, we learned the hard way. We sat there and got pummeled. We got our asses beat, going negative, double negative, triple negative. And it's like we ate those matches. We did not care about stats. We cared about playing, learning the game, getting better, to the point where we would eventually be able to do that to other people, or be able to compete with people that were just as skilled as us. And, you know, there was no skill-based matchmaking. There was nothing like super camper-friendly with the older Call of Duties. I mean, yeah, you know, Black Ops 2, shock charges, bouncing betties. But that wasn't even an issue, because the bouncing betties were easily, could easily be dodged. And if anything, the C4 was probably the most annoying thing. I started running C4 a lot once I understood that you could airburst it. But, you know, like, you would get dunked on as a new player, and that's how you learned. That's how you learned. You didn't have the developers trying to make the game help you to get your streaks, or to help you help your team. You know, it wasn't like these different mechanics and interactions with the different perks, equipments, and guns that basically just give you free kills, essentially. The map design also wasn't like super camera friendly either. Like, Black Ops 2 had like some pretty fluid maps, but I think essentially they were all still kind of 3-lane in a sense, which they were. At least the majority of them were. And, you know, that was like, huh, these maps are all pretty good. Why? Because they're all 3-lane. Because they have structure. Because there's not that much verticality. And, you know, yeah, people like Modern Warfare people specifically like, oh, but the verticality was what made them, like, maps have character, and that's what made it fun. You can get on top of stuff, and, like, yeah, on most of these maps, on most of the base maps in this game, you can get on top of stuff like crazy. But it also just kind of makes for, like, some unpredictable plays. Like, you know, you get shot from above, and you're standing there like, where the hell did I get shot from? Instead of, you know, like on top of containers, for example. Like, there's random like stacks of containers on some maps where you can climb on top of that are like another story above, so it's not crazy, but like, you know, there's not a 2-story building on that side of the map, so you're sitting there like, how the hell did I get killed? Like, they're standing on top of the crates. Okay, all right, I understand why now. But it's just super weird. It's just extremely weird. But I really do love this game as a whole. I really do love this game. Yeah, it caters to the oh my god, excuse me. Holy crap. It does cater to the passive play style a lot more, but I seriously think that with Shoot House now in the game, hopefully Infinity Ward is taking note and maybe can adjust some of their unreleased maps to maybe be 3-lane or just adjust them somehow. Because I did hear that Shoot House was supposed to be a 2v2 map, which, if that is the case, I personally think it is way too big for a 2v2 map. Like, even the 2v2 maps in the game now, they're all fairly small and they go fairly quick, but I could not imagine Shoot House being a 2v2 map. It would be way too huge, and I could almost guarantee you every round would probably be going to the flag, the OC flag, every time. Like, that's insane to think about, you know? But anyway, like, it's, I don't know, I just really love the game. It's super cool. It's super well made. It's just the interactions that like cater to the passive play style that gets annoying. So I'm just gonna keep on playing on Shoot House 24/7 until some more maps get added into the game that are 3-lane. Because now that you think about it, all of the gunfight maps are 3-lane, but they're too small to like actually be 6v6 maps, right? But if Shoot House is supposed to be a 2v2 map and it's 3-lane, if there are other 2v2 maps that are 3-lane that are huge like Shoot House, stick them in the 6v6 playlist, because those are going to be so much fun. Again, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know that I have said multiple times that I have absolutely loved this past day playing on Shoot House, because it is a 3-lane map, it's small, and it's constant action. I love that. I love that, and I think that's what a lot of people love about the game too, or love about Call of Duty in a sense, because of that constant action. That's why you play. You know, I'm as sad as it is to say, I've gotten bored with Siege, just because Call of Duty keeps on bringing me back, and that constant action with Siege, I've like kind of grown restless whenever I have to sit and wait for people to attack me, or I have to push someone that's just camping and waiting for me. Yeah, it's a lot more skill involved and team oriented and whatever, but you know, I just love Call of Duty because you can kind of run solo and just go off, and the constant action, it gets you hype. It gets you hype. I love it. And with Modern Warfare, the map specifically kind of being a lot slower paced, I really needed Kill House. Kill House. Yeah, let's just call it Kill House. It's essentially the same thing. It's a tiny 6v6 map. Similar to like Shipment and the regular Kill House. Let's just call it Kill House. It's the same thing. But you know, like I feel like I've kind of said enough at this point. Like, I don't know if I've gotten all the points across that I wanted to, but I feel like I've gotten the majority of it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it here. Thank you so much for watching this long and listening. If you have, be sure to like and subscribe. Again, apologies for not really any uploads as of late. Crazy life right now. But I don't know if I'll be able to stream later. I don't know if I'll like be able to keep on making videos like this, but it's just been nuts, and I'm still loving this game, even though I absolutely hate it at times. It's volatile. But I'll go ahead and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace, guys.
This is Falcon 3-0. Good copy. UAV beginning flyover.
Precision airstrike ready. Enemy area.
UAV is out of fuel. Returning to resupply.